This is the Fuji GL690. This line of G690 film cameras were produced in Japan in the late 60s for commercial photographers. At that time, 35mm emulsions weren't always in high demand because it offered too many frames per roll. However, users liked the ease of handling of 35mm cameras, so Fuji came up with the G690 body style similar to the Leica, hence today it being nicknamed the Texas Leica. The GL690 Professional was released in January of 1974, and it distinctively has a second shutter button in the front for vertical shooting. It can shoot in roll or sheet type film, producing 6x9 frames on a roll of 120mm film. The standard lens I have on this is the 100mm f/3.5, and it has the aperture and shutter functions right on the lens. One major note about the lens is it has a leaf shutter, and the shutter operates in the lens. That enabled them to make the camera body very nice and slim. This camera is a rangefinder with 0 electronic components, not even a built-in meter. One roll of 120mm film produces 8 photos. A popular roll of film, such as Kodak Gold 200, costs roughly over $10 with tax. So to pose a question in the title of this video, is a camera costing roughly $1.25 to produce an image worth it in 2025? Well, that's a loaded question, but before we dive into it, let's roll my first roll of film on this camera and go shoot some photos. Okay, so it's right around Christmas time. We're staying in Western North Carolina around the Great Smokies, and we're actually camping in this farm area, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a pretty warm day, but it's gorgeous outside. So I have my Fuji loaded up with the 120 film, and I'm gonna go shoot some photos this sunset, and also probably some during sunrise. So I got 8 exposures, beautiful landscape, great weather, so let's go shoot some photos. So here we're going to photograph this old tractor that is put away in the shed. Obviously the subject has some harsh shadows, but the background is a little blown out with the highlights, especially the sky. Exposing kind of right in the middle, I would say f/8 at 250th of a second. Okay, in this composition we have another kind of complicating dynamic range of a composition going on here. We have the foreground and the subject, which is the tree in the shade, while the background and the sky is obviously blown out by the sun. So again, kind of going right in the middle, f/8 at 1/250th of a second should let us expose for the foreground and the middle ground while also not blowing out the sky too much. Okay, taking a photograph of the truck with the camping setup, and we're completely kind of in the shade now, so tripod is out. Anyways, so we're at f/8, roughly 1/60th of a second. On the tripod, got it focused, and let's take the photo. Okay, well, it is the Texas Leica, so I threw on some boots. Just had to, of course. These pants don't really go with it, but for the occasion. I'm gonna shoot this composition at f/8. We're looking at something around 1/250th of a second again. So with this frame, I'm trying to create some depth by using the tree in the front which is in the shade, but the subject is the tree behind it, which is getting highlighted by the sun. So it should create some natural depth. To revisit the initial question we posed in the beginning of this video, is it worth spending over $1 an image to shoot photos in 2025? Well, that answer is heavily subjective. There is no real right or wrong answer, because photography is an art form, and art doesn't always have to follow logic. Logically, I tell you that there are cameras in 2025 that are more efficient, better designed, less costly, and produce better images. But that's not why you're watching this video. You likely will stumble upon this video because you're interested in older cameras, or you find film photography interesting. This camera gives you feedback that is hard to replicate in modern cameras. It feels like a real tool in your hands. It's heavy and cumbersome. The shutter is loud, the crank lever has torque, and it feels satisfying. It has character, and it's beautiful. It doesn't have many convenient controls, but it forces you to slow down and be present. It makes you look at the details and be intentional with what you're shooting. And when you scan the film and get a good photo out of your roll, the rewarding feeling cannot be replicated by digital cameras. That's why I love shooting film photography. Put in the comments what interests you in shooting film.